You actually got to hit go live to go live. I'm not sure why I'm not live, but then I see I never hit the button. Guys, the hate train in Philly, the hate train towards Jalen Hurts, it just never ends. It just never stops. But we continue to march on. But on a slow media week, a slow news week, when you hear a list of the most hated NFL players and Jalen Hurts is number one, you got to talk about it, right? Gives us something to argue about. Trending in the AM with a special guest at 8:30. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all. Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live as we are every single morning, 8 a.m. for your 90 minutes of sports talk, talking all the trending topics in Philadelphia and beyond. Guys, please do me the favor before we get started here today. Hit the like button, hit the share button on your screen, subscribe to the STT Sports Network. Even if you're watching this on replay, hitting those buttons, it's free to do. It's free to support your local content creators. It costs nothing to click the screen, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. And for those watching live, our poll question of the day, why is Jalen Hurts hated so much? Is it A, people won't admit they're wrong? That's my opinion on the answer. B, he is not flashy, which he is not. C, he has no drama in him. Or D, they just hate the best. Make sure you vote after hitting that like and subscribe button. I'm Phil Stiefel. We got a jam-packed show as we do every single morning. We are first and foremost gotta let it known. Chet in the chat will be Chet on the screen. Join us at about 8:30 for about 30 minutes of talk. We'll cover the gambit of Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, beer, whatever. Maybe even some more Robert Duvall conversation today. We'll talk that with Chet, in about a half hour. But before we get to the comments, let's get to the why is Jalen Hurts hated so much topic, the topic of the day. And we started off by saying, why is this the topic? The topic is it because there was an article published and it's circulating all over social media that Jalen Hurts is the most hated NFL player. Where did this article come from? Vegas Insiders. It's some website put some analytical formula together based off of Reddit, which I'm not on Reddit, arguably. I'll admit that very much, if ever. But they've taken Reddit information and analytics on ups and downs, like thumbs ups and thumbs down, on names, on posts, on phrases, et cetera, et cetera. And Jalen Hurts was voted the most hated player based off of the analytics of Reddit, which it's comical. The most loved player in the NFL, no surprise, Josh Allen. Wonder what's going on there. Jalen Hurts most hated. Some of these names, I don't even know who they are, like Luther Burden, Cole Strange, Daniel Jones, 5th most hated. Deshaun Watson's on this list, but not till 7th. Aaron Rodgers, 12th. Josh Allen, 17th on the most hated list. So, take this list with a grain of salt. This is a Reddit fan forum situation. But it brings in, why do fans hate Jalen Hurts so much? Why do fans feel the need to crap on Jalen Hurts so much? And it's not just Philly fans. This is a nationwide, actually, Reddit's probably used all over the world. This is NFL fans all over. Just enjoy crapping on Jalen Hurts, and it's frustrating. It really is. Let's get right to the comments. He didn't have the pedigree coming out of college, nor the Cinderella story. You got to love a good Cinderella story. You would think with all the hate he gets, relaunch, getting a Super Bowl MVP and winning a championship so in theory, Jalen Hurts does have a Cinderella story like Brock Purdy. Actually, Cinderella's story is greater for Jalen Hurts than Brock Purdy. Purdy's only story was he's the last guy drafted. People are locked in, Duck says, on what a winning quarterback is supposed to be and not what it is now. Hurts is an example of now. You don't have to put tons of numbers and be careful with the ball. Exactly. That goes to he's not flashy, right? He has no drama. You know, people get away from, and we've talked about this countless times on this show, people have gotten away from what really matters, and that's winning, right? Winning. When people hate Jalen Hurts more than they hate Deshaun Watson, I think that says all you need to know. And good morning to you as well. They all want to give Allen Jackson, Burrow, Herbert passes because they put up big numbers without Super Bowl success. Then you see what actually brings you Super Bowls. Leadership, dedication, team first. That's what brings you the Super Bowl, right? Being able to put your ego aside, those guys can't do it, right? Good morning, RW. How you doing? Phil, the Jalen Hurts hate is a joke at this point. It is. This one, though, is intriguing to me because this wasn't a media vote. This wasn't a player vote. This was straight fan analytics off of a major website like Reddit. And it's just based off of, ups and downs, thumbs ups, thumbs downs, or upticks, downticks, whatever they call it over there. I've been banned there so many times. I can't create any more email addresses to get on Reddit anymore. But when you see that names like Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson are on the list, but way down the list, this also devalues the list, is that when you look at the top 10 most loved players and Ty Robinson falls in the top 5 of most loved, tells you a lot about what you want to know about this list. What's up, Robert? Good morning to you, and Elephant in the Room as well. I didn't vote on the poll because none of the selections fit for me. Why? What would fit for you? He is not hated. He is not hated in the NFL, but he is hated by the fans. He is hated on by the media. And you all know I hate the word hate anyway. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? They hate Hurts because all their other quarterbacks can't win the big game. They want players with flashy numbers. It's the world of fantasy football. It's the world of gambling. It's the betting world we live in, Adam. What's more important? Flashy stats and hitting your parlay or winning Super Bowls? Someone may just have a shitty sentiment analysis algo, and that is true. These algos created by websites, it's no different than PFF, right? PFF numbers, we talk about it all the time, don't make sense always. Why? Because they create the algorithm to come up with the numbers to fit the narrative, right? So maybe the Vegas Insider website that put this together, maybe they just have an agenda. Maybe they're just looking for the clicks. Vegas is probably a company, a part of ESPN. Yeah, probably, Adam. They're all linked somehow. It is because people repost the same post over and over again. It is so off. Yeah, it is so off. And I'm sure there's a lot of wrong with how this list was created, right? But also, it's a growing problem. It's still a growing trend that it's cool to hate on Jalen Hurts. It's cool to ignore greatness, right? We always talk about on this show, if Howie Roseman was fired, he'd be scooped up like this, right? Another team, before the ink was dry on his I quit or I'm fired from the Eagles paperwork, he'd already have a new contract, right? We debate would Nick Sirianni be hired like this or not. I think yes. Others say no. If Jalen Hurts became available, he'd have suitors lining up for him faster than Howie Roseman. Because while he's not flashy, he's exactly what an owner of an NFL team wants, right? A guy that puts team and logo ahead of everything else and brings you wins, which is what you want. So the fans hating on Hurts, the media hating on Hurts, doesn't reflect what the NFL probably thinks of him, right? It doesn't reflect the truth on who he is at all. If that makes sense. I think it does. I think the way I said that made sense. Not positive, but I think that worked. I've seen Emmanuel Cho's video hundreds of times on Reddit. That's why I don't go there for sports stuff, reposted garbage. Yeah, look, I tried Reddit. Everyone told me Reddit was a way to grow my channels back in the day. But people run those sites that hate you sharing shows, so they kick you out, and I've been banned. So I haven't been on there in years. Honestly, Hurts is whatever. As a dude, he's got the personality of a wet dishcloth and answers questions the most blank way ever, which is fine. Don't hate him for that. I think that goes into the not flashy category, right? That's what if that's what you think of Hurts, that would mean you'd vote for he is not flashy. But honestly, do you want your quarterback giving dishcloth answers? Or do you want him creating drama, throwing people under the bus, being bold and outlandish, creating drama? Hurts' lack of drama is what helps keep this Eagles team together. People need to stop hating Hurts. Obviously they do. But they won't. And I think while there's flaws in the creation of this list, Robert, while there's flaws in it, I think it goes to the root of the problems on why he's hated so much. And it is some of these poll questions here or options like he's not flashy or the lack of drama. They won't admit they're wrong. But they won't admit they're wrong is the media, right? So they hate. If you blame the media for the fans' hate of Jalen Hurts, then you got to pick option A in the poll, right? Because the media continues to drill down. I mean, you've had WIP already in the last 2 weeks have episodes on trading Jalen Hurts, drafting a top 3-round quarterback as his eventual replacement, not extending him, telling him he's still got to prove something in 26 before he gets an extension. And that's just one radio station. That doesn't count the countless other online outlets that have hundreds of times more followers and supporters than me that drive that narrative. Maybe if I started driving the Jalen Hurts bus of hate, this channel would blow up. They jealous Hurts is friends with Michael Jordan. He is actually humble. It's not just Michael Jordan. It's Tom Brady. It's Michael Jordan. It's Peyton Manning. Jalen Hurts in the offseason isn't out on a yacht partying. Or if he is, which he might be, he's got a wife. I'm sure they're going to enjoy the offseason a little bit. He's not flashing it, right? What you see of Jalen Hurts in the offseason is him embracing the greats. Now, Michael Jordan's we got to dance around Michael Jordan a little bit right now because we don't know what's going on there. But outside of that, Jalen Hurts surrounds himself with the GOATs, right? The greats of the greats, to immerse himself, to learn to be even better. What are the other guys doing? Getting massages? Twerking on stage with girls? I don't know. These commercials blow. Well, they don't like you either. I've only seen one in 13 and a half minutes. The Hurts fans is where the problem is. To Hurts fans, he can do no wrong. Everything that bad happens is someone else's fault, not Jalen's. His fans also prop him up amongst all-time greats. Well, that's fine, and I get that. And to a non-Hurts fan, it sounds like we're making excuses. But see, the same thing that you're saying there, that Hurts can do no wrong, in the eyes of Hurts haters, he can do no right. Right? Jalen Hurts gets no credit for the Super Bowl championship last year. It was all the defense, right? When the going gets good, it's the offensive line. It's Saquon Barkley. It's A.J. Brown, right? Jalen Hurts is just like Nick Sirianni, right? And that's the signal of a good quarterback or head coach or combo, is that they get all the blame for the bad and they get no credit for the good, and they don't complain about it. They accept that role. That's what makes them special. But when the going gets good, Hurts gets no credit. When the going gets bad, it's all Jalen Hurts. And that's why Hurts fans like myself don't like to bring up the negative or drive harder on the positive elephant. It's because it's a double standard when it comes to Jalen Hurts, right? When it comes to Nick Sirianni. And that's why we get so passionate behind the hate, is because while you say the us fans can't see the bad, you guys can't see the good. It's this constant battle driven by the media negativity. If you want to have a general conversation of the good and bad he does, we can have it if you could take off the hate blinders. Not you specifically. I'm saying most people. Doing wrong doesn't give me a reason to hate somebody. Doing wrong. Look, I don't hate anybody. I literally, I don't hate any of the people that say they hate Jalen Hurts. Hate's a strong word. We need more love in this world, right? But yeah, you know, the problem is there is something called pure statistics and pointed or directed statistics. Look, you can look at it like that. And I do think the statistic and analytic world has gotten out of control in the sense that, you know, people rely on that too much versus the only statistic that matters. In 80s and 90s, you could even imagine or envision a structured read option being successful. The game spacing changed. What was taught has been changed. Fans haven't. I think that's interesting. While the game has changed, have the fans changed how they evaluate the game? I think the fans have evaluated how they evaluate a game in a bet because of betting and fantasy. But how they understand the game, I don't think they've changed. Yeah, I figured what you meant there. Okay. I'm going to guess they put it to an AI with a pointed question and got the stats back that equal their concepts. It's possible. It's very possible that this is a massively flawed thing. And I agree. It is probably massively flawed, this list. It doesn't mean that there's not a problem with the hate. It doesn't mean that there's not a reason or a problem with how this list depicts Jalen, right? I agree that the list is probably flawed. It's still a problem. Hurts doesn't fall for the press industry, but he could probably benefit from treating the media like Chris Pronger did. I'm not sure. Chris Pronger, I'm trying to think. I get what you're saying. I'm trying to think of a better analogy than Chris Pronger in that situation. But see, the thing is, you want Jalen Hurts to be like somebody else. Okay? Instead of being who he is. And who he is what makes him special and should not be hated because of it. Hurts could win 10 Super Bowls and they will say he didn't put up enough yards during that time. Exactly. And that's the elephant in the room. That's why I have a problem. He would get no credit for the 10 Super Bowls. It would all be because of somebody else, Adam, right? And that's why us Hurts supporters are so adamant in our support of him, not because we're blind. We know what flaws he has in his game. We see it. But the others can't see the good. Hurts fans already treat him like he's won 10 Super Bowls. Well, he's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2. How many active quarterbacks in the NFL, elephant in the room, have actually active quarterbacks in the NFL right now? All 60, 70, well, there's about probably 100 quarterbacks active in the NFL right now on rosters or practice squads. How many of them have won How many of them have been to 2 Super Bowls? The list is extremely narrow. Okay? It's extremely narrow. It's Matthew Stafford. It's Patrick Mahomes. Both have been in the league a long time. Aaron Rodgers, longer than both of those 2 guys combined. Jalen Hurts. Who else? Who else has been to 2 Super Bowls in the NFL? Okay? It's easy. If everyone hated Hurts, then when the media hated on him, no one would care. It is proof that people actually care when the hate is turned on. I think that's fair as well. And I think it's fair to blame the media for it to an extent. I'm somewhere in the middle. Don't love him or hate him. I just see him for what he is, which is a good but not great quarterback who is corny. But see, the thing is, you show your true feelings on Jalen Hurts with the last 7 words of your line. You could have just stopped with which is a good but not great quarterback. End the thing. And you would have made a valid point that I could have discussed with you, right? But then you say, who is corny as F as a dude? What does being corny as bleepity bleep have to do with whether he's a good or bad quarterback? And that's why people don't respect him, don't like him, have so much hate for him, because so many people think he's corny, cheesy, too simplistic. That has nothing to do with his success rate on the field. It has a lot to do with his success rate as a team and a team leader. Most people just aren't good at seeing things from other perspectives or delve into what motivates others' behaviors. And that's true. I read Eagles said want to try to keep A.J. Brown. Yes, that is from Derek Gunn, one of the top Eagles beat reporters. Well, I don't even know if he's on the beat technically anymore. But yes, reports are that he is going to stick around A.J. Brown. It's up to him, though. Correct. It's up to A.J. Brown to – the reports from Derek Gunn that the Eagles want to keep Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown is nothing more than Eagles' opinions towards A.J. Brown and towards the rest of the league. You want A.J. Brown? It's going to cost you. We want to keep him. Oh, shit, you want to keep one of the best wide receivers in football. Does A.J. Brown want to stay here? Will another team overpay you and force your hand to trade him? They're different topics, right? So the A.J. Brown news from Derek Gunn seems so obvious, right? But I think it just sells the point of where the Eagles are at this point of the offseason. WIP is a low IQ production. It's for people that need help reading a Dr. Seuss novel. Yes. I blame Big Sills as well, for sure. Do you see it? See what? The corniest fuckness or the other end of it? Because I don't care about corny. I care about wins, and that's it. Stiefel in the morning show, what? If there's no nuance in anyone else's comments, just ignore it. It's true. It's true, Nooms. Good morning, Bruce. How you doing? Chet in the chat. How do you tailgate at 8:20? What are we tailgating for this morning? Allen and Burrow are corny, too, but they don't get called for it. That's true. That's true. Pre-Chet chat. Pre-chat chat. It's really hard to say, man. Is Derek Gunn a reliable source? I have to question Derek Gunn's reliability at this point in his career. Derek Gunn is not to the Howard Eskins or Mike Missinelli, cartoon characters of their former respectable selves yet, but he's getting sneaky close, Adam. He's getting sneaky close with the cliche and clickbait stuff. He doesn't have an official job with a major network anymore. Still got plenty of connections, but yeah. I can actually separate the athlete from the human. Can you? Can any of you? I absolutely can. But separating the athlete from the human should not be linked in your opinions. Like you saying he's got good and bad flaw or tendencies, but he's also corny as F. That tells me you can't separate it. People want some perfect quarterback from stats and personality. It doesn't exist. Spot on it, Big Al. There is no perfect quarterback, right? There never has been, right? Everybody's got their flaws, and it's can they rise above it? Can they win? That's all that matters, right? I feel most of the haters are just jealous. There's a lot of jealousy in it. I really do think a lot of it is people just won't admit when they're wrong. I really do. I'm a low IQ production. You are? Okay. Big Sills looks like he smells like day-old caramelized onions and menthols. Where the hell did the old caramelized day-old onions come from? That might be the weirdest comparison to any human being even for Big Sills. I don't want to know what Big Sills smells like. Out of anybody out there, he'd be the least most likely person I want to know. Eagles keep A.J. Brown. We hope so. And Old Spice, yeah. Definitely mixes the Old Spice in. A.J. is a high-maintenance Bill going to target Mike Evans, just shows up and owns cornerbacks. Look, I've told you. Oh, Bills are going to target Mike Evans. Gotcha. I've said it countless times over the last 4 years of doing this show. Mike Evans is the most underrated receiver in the NFL. I stand by that. He's a guy I wish the Eagles trade A.J. Brown. I'd be out trying to get Mike Evans, too, on this team. I will say, I think it was Fran Dunphy said on PHLY, Brandon Cooks is going to be a top target for the Eagles at wide receiver 3 this offseason. I thought that was an interesting little nugget. He's calling his shot, he says. Respectable. So expect Brandon Cooks maybe on the Eagles. How do we know people don't think Burrow is corny? Are we in a Cincinnati chat? I think Burrow is a D-bag. Look, I agree with that part of it. He is not a fan of Joe Burrow's personality at all. But it doesn't mean I don't think he's a great quarterback. I know Joe Burrow's a great quarterback. I can separate the two. People don't like success. The major media hate shows you are successful, so it's time to hate. Okay. I mean, I guess that's why I'm not successful, because nobody hates me. Is that what it is? Is that what you're trying to say? Elephant owns libs. What? Who cares about what are you doing? Trying to control someone else's viewpoint is an indication of the controller not being very content with their reality. Okay. So I'm not content with my reality because I'm trying to control Elephant's viewpoint. I know you're not digging that at me. I know. Big Sills Cologne, Ode to Douche. Yeah, he strikes me as somebody that probably wears Sex Panther a lot and drives everybody away. Do you feel Howie should try to get Tyreek Hill from the Dolphins? No, not at all. Tyreek Hill might not play football this year. He still has another surgery, Bruce, to get. He's injured. He's even more drama-filled than A.J. Brown. He's past time, and with that injury, you don't know even if he can recover. Absolutely not. If a team signs him, it's a huge, huge risk with minimal reward because, honestly, he might not play till week 8, week 10, if at all next year. So Tyreek Hill is not worth the problem that he is. 13 likes so far, guys. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, please. I voted for the first option, which, again, they don't want to admit they're wrong. Look, I've dealt with people nonstop that don't want to admit they're wrong. And that's what I think separates me from other people. I let you alter my opinion. If I have an opinion, I'm open to changing my opinion, right? I'm open. I've been called by other people online. I'm a flip-flopper, right? Because I change my opinions. They evolve, right? I let my opinions evolve. D-bag does not exclude being corny. It's true. Phil, I'd be very hard on Hurts. Bad year, but he's one of 5 quarterbacks I would want. Exactly. You know, fans hating on him. The media hating on him. I'm telling you, if Jalen Hurts was available right now, any team that needs a quarterback would skip drafting a quarterback in the first round and just take Jalen Hurts. Tell me whoever the next expansion team is in the NFL, whoever that may be, they'd want Jalen Hurts to front their franchise. Phil, you don't have – I have haters. There are a select few that have held me back over the years. I won't name names, but I know for a fact certain people out there have told other people bad things about me that are just untrue. What I said was pure separation from athletes and person. I admitted he was good while also admitting he's corny. But see, the thing is, putting them in the same line, like right next to each other like that tells me you can't, okay? It appears, based off of the way you say it, that you can't separate what you're saying, okay? Thank you for telling. Yeah, look, yeah, I totally forgot how severe his injury was to Bruce until I saw the reports of his release, and I dug into it. So that's why that. All right. Yeah, look, we're not always going to agree, Elephant, but join us. We're going to get caught up on the comments here. We're going to move on because joining me on the I Have No Sponsor hotline, Chet in the chat is now Chet on the screen. Good morning, Chet. How you doing today?
Where the hell's my walk-up music?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right. Can you hear that? little love music early in the morning.
Yeah, thanks, right. I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I turned it back on there. Good morning to you. How you doing? Where are you tailgating from this morning?
I'm just kidding. I'm just, I was in makeup and getting all my makeup on.
Okay. Yeah, I think you missed the spot.
Not really.
Okay? You missed the spot. Like this whole spot right here, you missed. All right, guys, we got Chet here. He's one half of the host of Philly Press Box Radio, live 7 p.m. every single Wednesday night right here on the STT Sports Network. Chet, we got a lot to get into this morning, but obviously we're talking about to start this show, this article that's been printed based off of Reddit, which I don't know about you, but I've not been on Reddit in years. You know, it's not my cup of tea social media-wise, but there's an article out there ranking based off of Reddit analytics the most hated NFL players. And, of course, Jalen Hurts, our quarterback one, is the most hated player I don't know if you've read this list. Like Deshaun Watson's 7th on the list. Josh Allen is 17th. Aaron Rodgers is 12th. Like some of these names on this list should clearly be ahead of Jalen Hurts.
That is the crazy thing. Deshaun Watson at number 7 after all he's been through. Come on, man.
So where do you stand on the reasoning behind the hate that Jalen Hurts always takes? I'm sure you've been listening to this chat and this show for the last 20 minutes or so. Why is there this hate, do you think?
I think it's just that he's so freaking boring. The guy is a winner, which is nice. It's admirable. He's a good citizen, never had any, conflicts or controversies or scandals, but he's boring. In interviews, he's just kind of monotone, gives all the cliche answers all the time. And, he's just not flashy. And that was one of your options, not flashy. Also, I think the tush push has something to do with it. I think a lot of people around the nation hate the tush push and the fact that that's how he gets so many of his touchdowns.
Everybody hates the tush push. And we actually had our worst year on the tush push. And yet once they couldn't get it banned, everybody else started doing the tush push. So while everybody hated the tush push, the other list is most loved. Josh Allen, who ran the tush push the most, is the most loved athlete in the NFL. So the tush push hate towards Jalen Hurts does not stop the hate towards Josh Allen.
Well, Josh Allen is a likable guy. He's very personable. So I get that. I understand why he is number 1. And I don't think Jalen Hurts really cares about this list. As you said, it's from Reddit. It's a fan thing. It's not really with any, super analytics or anything. This is not going to be something that will motivate him. Trust me.
Right. Me and Elephant in the Room have been disagreeing on this topic the whole show, but he said he's Tim Tebow if Tim Tebow is actually good. I think that's a fair statement from somebody that doesn't like Jalen Hurts as much. He is a more talented version of Tim Tebow. And let's be honest, it's funny you mentioned Tim Tebow, Elephant. I just read an article or a clip that Tim Tebow has not officially retired from the NFL. He has never filed his retirement paperwork. He has from baseball, but not from football. And I was a huge Tim Tebow fan, and I think that sums up why I love Jalen Hurts so much, because I'm 45. I've seen so much drama in Philadelphia sports chat that Jalen Hurts just winning and just focusing on the sport itself is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the drama. Tim Tebow was a no-drama guy.
Yeah, that he was, and liked by everybody pretty much.
Tim Tebow won a little bit too. Let's not forget about that.
He did, but not a great quarterback. Let's be honest.
No. But again, he won. I mean, he took it. He went as a rookie, took the Broncos to the playoffs, beat the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs before getting smoked by the Patriots.
Right.
Like, that's what really, again, Tim Tebow won football games. I think we get away from when evaluating. I don't know if you're a gambler or not, if you place any sports bets or
a little bit
do fantasy football or anything. I think it goes to the fact that because of fantasy football and because of gambling in sports, we've gotten away from what matters, and that's the wins versus the stats.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And you know what? I hope we can put this to rest real soon, just like I hope we can put the whole Bryce Harper elite versus Dave Dombrowski thing to rest, because I'm tired of it already.
Yeah, you would think that we've got enough drama in the city with Bryce Harper that we'd be ignoring the Jalen Hurts drama. Let's get into it. I mean, obviously, you bring up Bryce Harper. You got your Philly shirt on. Obviously, there's a lot swirling with Bryce Harper right now. The frustrations. Now there's a video of him on another podcast or audio YouTube thing from the other day that's circulating. Do you think Bryce Harper's fully focused right now, or do you think he's distracted and really disgruntled with Dave Dombrowski, as camp begins here?
I think he's fully focused. I wish he would, get over this whole thing. Come on, Bryce, you're 33 years old. This happened, 4 or 5 months ago? Get over it. You talked about it for 2 days. Now put it behind you and move on. Dombrowski may have been wrong to say it, but Bryce, you're wrong to just keep talking about it at length. I know you're being asked about it, but you don't have to talk about it for 15 minutes on a podcast. Put it behind you, go out there and play. And, he says he doesn't need that to get motivated. I think it will ultimately help him be a little more motivated.
It's funny with the Phillies. I mean, there hasn't been major drama like there is with the Eagles around this Phillies team. Maybe a little drama like this is what the Phillies need. to kind of pump them up a little bit, because while the Phillies have won a lot of baseball games, they've disappointed us year in and year out for 3 years in a row now.
Yep.
Can this be the spark that gets some of these, what some people are calling overpaid free agent signings over the last, half a decade? Can this get them to turn the corner to actually bring the results that we need them to bring?
Boy, I sure hope so, but I'm not going to count on it. I mean, all these guys, the core, are a year older.
Yeah.
Can JT at his age be better than he was the last few years after playing so much last year? Bryce, who seems to have trouble staying healthy through an entire year, yeah, he's going to be motivated, I think, but I don't know if he's ever going to put up amazing numbers, MVP type numbers again. We don't know what we're going to get from Garcia in right field. He was pretty good 3 years ago, but he's gone down a bit the last 2 years. He's in pretty good shape, obviously. If you've seen those pictures, he's jacked.
I said it to the guest I had on yesterday, Luke Arcani from Crossing Broad. He might be too young though to remember the old Simpsons episode from like the late '80s when they played softball and Ken Griffey Jr. Took roids and his head blew up like an alien and everything like that. That's what Adolis Garcia looks like. Here's something I've been saying all off season, that I knew that this was going to be a disappointing off season in like the free agency and the signings and the trades. I knew this Phillies team wasn't going to change much. I wanted change. I didn't. But I said the biggest thing that could come out of this offseason is Bryce Harper being motivated enough. He's never going to be an MVP again, but if he gets close to MVP, that could be almost like a major free agent signing for this team, to see him back to where he was in 2021, 2022, and he could single-handedly carry this Phillies team. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I do agree, and I would love to see that. I really, really would, because, he's obviously still a talented guy. So I think if he does stay healthy, he is going to have a pretty good year. Is Kyle Schwarber going to hit 56 home runs again this year? Probably not, but, hopefully he'll get 45 or whatever and have the kind of year he did last year otherwise. Bryson Stott had a better second half last year than he did the first half, so hopefully he'll figure it out sooner this year. People crap on Alec Bohm a lot, but I'm okay with Bohm. He's not a cleanup hitter, but I think he's a pretty solid third baseman. He's gotten much better defensively over the years, and he does drive in runs. So I'm okay with Bohm.
Yep. No, I mean, I think Alec Bohm in the cleanup spot kind of annoys me. I don't think he's a cleanup hitter, so to speak. But if you really look at Alec Bohm's numbers, Alec Bohm gets a lot of unjust, hate in this city. He's put in a position to fail by Rob Thompson. He would be arguably one of, if not the best 7-hole hitters in all of baseball, if that's where Rob Thompson would, put him. If you look at his numbers across baseball and across third baseman, I mean, he's top 10 third baseman in baseball right now. But maybe that's because third basemen aren't as good as they used to be, but he's still one of the top 10 third basemen in baseball. And his numbers with runners in scoring position over the last couple of years in baseball ranked up there in the top third of baseball. So I think Alec Bohm is more of a Rob Thompson problem. We always remember Andy Reid, I got to put my players in a better position to succeed. Alec Bohm is not put in a position to succeed.
We talked about these position players, but for me, the keys this year are going to be the starting pitchers. Aaron Nola has to be better than last year. I mean, he was pretty dreadful last season. And what we're hearing is that Andrew Painter looks really, really good throwing down there. I know he's not facing, opposing hitters yet, but the arm strength appears to be there. His command is there. So I'm excited a little bit to see Andrew Painter in game action.
Do you think there's pressure on Andrew Painter? Obviously, Zach Wheeler, Zach Wheeler might be back in May now, they're saying. But Andrew Painter's a guy that has been dangled in, content creators, radio, media, trade talks for like 3 years. And the Phillies kept saying he is untouchable. Even last year when he was showing a little maybe hiccup in his development, nobody wanted to trade him, right? Well, now he's getting his chance, and Zach Wheeler's missing. So he's not even going to be the fifth starter. He's like the fourth starter in this rotation. Does that put pressure on a young kid like that?
It's definitely pressure, but, I'm sure he can handle it. He's been a guy that everybody has watched for, his entire minor league career. He was a high prospect, so I'm sure he'll be fine with it. And I can't wait to see him. A couple of weeks ago, Bill asked me, about my excitement level as players were reporting to Clearwater. I said it wasn't really there yet. I'm starting to get a little bit excited now when I'm hearing about Painter and the fact that Zach Wheeler could be back maybe even before May, maybe in, mid to late April. So that would be great.
Yeah. I was always I was really into the whole be cautious with Zach Wheeler's recovery. But if he's ready, he's ready. What do you think about the? Do you have any random rib bones hanging in your closet in your bedroom like Zach Wheeler? Because I don't
How
think
about that?
we talk about the drama so much. All I'm picturing is like an episode of Criminal Minds and Jason Gideon opening up a closet at a site and seeing rib bones hanging there. Like I can't even comprehend that right there.
Yeah, that shocked the heck out of me. He saved the rib. I don't know why you would want to do that. I once saved a tooth for like 30 years. I don't know why. I had it in this little container, and then I found it. I had a tooth from when I was a kid. Why? I don't know.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't create a second Chet out of that tooth or anything. I don't know if the
Nobody wants
DNA
that.
was any good in there or anything like that. Obviously, Andrew Painter is not the only young kid, in camp this week this year with the Phillies. Obviously, a lot's going to be expected of Justin Crawford as well. But I'm more excited for Aiden Miller. I know he is not going to be given that opportunity. It would take an Alec Boehm injury and Aiden Miller hitting like 400 in spring to be given that opportunity. But I know you've had opportunities to talk with Larry Bowa in the past. And when somebody like Larry Bowa talks, when Larry Bowa, I don't know if you saw the clip of him talking of him, like when he was asked Aiden Miller, he got this grin on his face. Yeah. It was like the light of God shining off of his face when he got to talk about Aiden Miller. When Larry Bowa gets excited for a young prospect, that makes me get excited.
I love Larry Bowa, 80 years old, and he's still going down there and teaching. And we're going to talk about Larry Bowa with our guest tonight, Bob Brookover, on our Philly Press Box radio show, because Bob just interviewed Larry the other day. But yeah, I love the fact that Bowa is excited about Aiden Miller. And we may not see Miller this entire season unless the Phillies, as you said, shock the world and trade Alec Boehm finally, or if Boehm or Stott or Turner, gets hurt. But I'm excited about Miller, and I hope I get to see him this spring a few times.
I'll be honest, it's been a problem with the Phillies. Not a problem necessarily, or maybe a problem. I don't even know if it's a problem or not. The Phillies have the different philosophical organizational philosophy to not call these guys up at 20, 21, 22 years old. They're very cautious. Some of it's financial. Maybe some of it's, they just don't think they're ready. But you see other organizations bring their guys up a lot younger. I kind of feel like Aiden Miller would inject the excitement that this fan base needs. Because right now, I kind of feel like the Phillies fan base is teetering. Like there was always us Rob Thompson haters, the small group of us that were there. But it's growing more and more. And you have the Bryce Harper drama. You have the Nick Castellanos drama that we just got over. Maybe injecting this youthful life into the team like Aiden Miller would kind of distract us from those problems. Do you think the Phillies are behind the times on that philosophy?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. They do take the cautious approach more often than not. But, hey, they're finally bringing Justin Crawford up. People wanted to see him mid-season last year. It didn't happen. And there could be some excitement there if Crawford, of course, does play well. Right. And, you got Miller waiting in the wings, some other guys down there perhaps. There's definitely a little more excitement right now than there was a few weeks ago for me. So we'll see how it goes.
What about Dave Dombrowski and how he's handled? Obviously, we've talked about Bryce Harper. I just mentioned Nick Castellanos. What are your thoughts on the way he's handled this whole entire offseason? Because I feel like he's created more drama than necessary. It's not all his fault. Everybody's at blame here. But I kind of feel like he has not helped this situation as the guy in charge, as president of this organization.
Yeah, well, with the Harper thing, I don't think Dombrowski was doing that intentionally to try to motivate Harper. I think he was just giving an honest answer to a question. Maybe he was a little too honest when he brought up the whole, not still elite anymore kind of thing. So I'm not going to fault him too much for that. He said it. He was honest. Okay. The problem with Dombrowski is he did not have a great trade deadline last year other than getting Duran, and not a great offseason this year. He didn't make any huge deals. He signed Garcia. Yeah. He re-signed Kyle Schwarber. Don't forget that. He'll remind you of that. But, brought back JT, which wasn't a whole lot of excitement for people. I think people wanted to see, either a Bichette or, somebody else brought in to change things up a bit. As much as Topper says they're not running it back, for the most part, they're running it back.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you on that. So you got Bob Brookover on the show tonight. He's NJ.com. I know he covers the Eagles. Obviously, he covers the little Phillies as well.
Yep.
To go back to the Eagles for a second, You've had the opportunity to interview. I mean, you've been doing Philly Press Box Radio for, are we over 11 years now?
It'll be 12 years at the end of April.
12 years at the end of April. You, based off of your legendary career, you've had the opportunity to meet and interview a lot of people. And Derek Gunn yesterday came out with a report that the Eagles are not interested in trading A.J. Brown. Again, talking about drama, there's drama all over Philadelphia and Philadelphia sports right now. The conversation came up early in the chat here today, and I don't know if you saw it, about questioning Derek Gunn and his integrity. And not integrity, so to speak, the validity of some of his reports at this point in his career. What's happened with media? I don't want to get into questioning, Derek Gunn, so to speak. But obviously the way media is handled now, as it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, it's completely different. And it's something that I know you've been in the business for a long time, and I know you've done your podcast for now going on 12 years. How have you seen the shift on the way this is done? Because it fascinates the hell out of me how it's changed.
Well, people love to hate the media. We know that.
Absolutely. And I've heard other media members say that. That's why I try not to be as awful when I say it. I try to pick my words very carefully when I say that.
We see that with political news, which we won't get into. We see that with sports news. The hate for broadcasters just amazes me. I don't get that. I never have. But I think the big reason is social media. Because of the rise of social media over the last 20 years, people can just say whatever the heck they want, and they criticize so often and frequently. It is the media that they are criticizing. Sometimes you have media members criticizing other media members. So yeah, it's a completely different world now than it was 30, 40 years ago, when I was starting in the business. Back then people seemed to respect the media, thought that because I was a broadcaster, a journalist, people kind of accepted you as a reliable source. Now, just because you're in the media, you're going to get a lot of questions, people wondering if you have some sort of, agenda. And
that's the right word. Agenda is the right word. Yeah. That I'm not trying to devalue them. I'm saying they all have agenda, because when the Derek Gunn piece came up earlier in the show, basically what I said was he hasn't gone to the lengths of losing all respect like a Howard Eskin may have over the years and all. But you do know he's got agenda. He's not officially with the Eagles or NBC Sports Philadelphia anymore. He's an online personality, Derek Gunn, as well. So him putting out a report that A.J. Brown, that the Eagles don't want to trade him, well, obviously they don't want to trade him. But, you say 30, 40 years ago, and the respect the media has, like, I just think about it. Like, when I was young, when I was growing up in the 80s and early 90s, I couldn't wait to listen to Mike Missinelli on the radio. I couldn't wait to hear what Howard Eskin had to say. Derek Gunn in the early 2000s, what he had to say. Like, there was a point where their word formed my opinion. And I still think that that's part of the problem with the Jalen Hurts hate, the drama with all the sports teams, that some people still do hold what they say on the media like as the answer, the truth, the only opinion. Problem is, I don't think fans can separate that now they have agendas. When back then they probably had agendas, it was just not as. I don't know. I'm trying to formulate this the right way here.
For what it's worth, I like D. Gunn, and I think he is pretty reputable.
I love D. Gunn. I mean, he's an Eagles legend.
He is, yeah. I loved when he was, reporting for Eagles Postgame Live on the old Comcast Sportsnet. I thought he did a great job with that. And, I don't know if he has any agenda, but I think he is a pretty solid reporter. And I don't think he's just, throwing stuff out there. I think he generally does have some sources. And I hope he's right about A.J. Brown, too.
Well, let's get into that then. So, like, my question is Derek Gunn just making a blanket statement the Eagles don't want to trade A.J. Brown, or do you think he actually spoke to somebody and said, hey, what's going on with A.J. Brown? They said, we are going to do everything we can not to trade him, because one side of my head says he's just saying that for the Eagles to help drive his A.J. Brown's price up, or B, he's just saying that for clicks because now everybody's talking about Derek Gunn right now. Or is this a real legit thing here?
Maybe I'm gullible, but I believe him. I believe he still has sources with the Eagles, and I think he's telling the truth on this one. I really do think that the Eagles want to keep A.J. Brown, and I think D. Gunn got somebody to say that sort of on the record, but off the record to him.
Obviously, A.J. Brown, though, also had a lot of issues here in Philadelphia, whether it was with Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, Jalen Hurts, Big Dom, Tony the towel boy in the locker room. Whoever his problem was with, is A.J. Brown's relationship in Philly with the team and the fans and the media and everything, is it repairable? Can we see it fixed to the level where he's here next year and there is no trauma?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can be repaired. He's just got to, keep his emotions in check. Don't go crazy with the social media. Don't say ridiculous stuff after a game where they only targeted you 2 or 3 times. Go out there, play, do your best. Let's be honest, AJ, you did not have a great 2025 season. You had some drops in key moments, but you're still, reasonably young guy with a lot of talent. So go out there, play, show what you can, and help us win another Super Bowl, damn it.
I don't know where the name Tony the Towboy came from. I just kind of threw that out. There's actually a report of somebody in the locker room, an Antonio or something like that. He's like a locker room guy that Jalen Hurts is really friendly with, but I couldn't remember his name, so Tony the Towboy came up. But it sounds scandalous, and that just kind of pivots me back to baseball. I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but I've been talking about this next CBA coming up and how baseball is going to be really in a tough spot to have a 2027 MLB season. And if anybody hasn't seen it, Tony Clark, the head of the Players Association, was forced to resign, was forced to quit, whatever, yesterday. Because I guess, what did they say? He had inappropriate relations with his sister-in-law, who also works for the MLB, Major League Baseball Players Association.
Yeah, that's wild.
I kind of feel like this story is being swept under the rug because losing the chief, the boss, the CEO of an organization 6 months before you have to have major negotiations on a collective bargaining agreement, that's like a really big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, you would think so. So there's more to this story than meets the eye, I think. I don't know, Tony, what you were doing, but somebody didn't like it.
I just feel like that. Couldn't they have just kept this under wraps for another 6 months and figured out the CBA first, and then they could have done it? Like, I don't want to see baseball lose a season. I don't want to see baseball, have a lockout and have that kind of drama. It'll be great content for radio, for podcasting and whatnot, but it's something that I feel that baseball will really struggle to recover from this time. And, it scares me. Do you think baseball is going towards the direction of a really, really big, messy breakup for a while?
It sure sounds like that. And, over the next few weeks on our show, we're going to have a lot of baseball people on. So I will definitely ask about that. But yeah, I'm worried about that. I hope it doesn't turn out like it did 30 years ago and we lose, parts of 2 seasons.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. Like, do you think baseball, obviously the 94 strike, it took a long time. It took a steroid era to recover from that. I don't know in this social media age if baseball can get back to where it is now if they skip an entire season.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, baseball has already fallen pretty far behind football, and another work stoppage, strike, whatever you call it, that would definitely hurt. So the powers that be would be wise to figure something out and get this settled well before spring of next year.
Obviously the main talking point from every fan out there is that baseball wants a salary cap, right? That the owners want to institute, or baseball wants to institute a salary cap. And I do think they want to, and I think they're going to push really, really hard for that. The problem is I don't see a world where the players accept that, and I don't see a world where, even if they all accept the salary cap, how they can institute a salary cap with all these massive contracts that are already out there. Like, it's an owner's sticking point, but it also hurts the owners to institute their top sticking point.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because you have so many of these crazy long-term, high, ridiculous contracts. How would they do a salary cap? They would have to grandfather in some of these contracts, I guess, and work around that with the cap. But I don't know how they're going to do it. There are people far smarter than me that can hopefully figure something out.
We're all far smarter than you, so it's
thank you, man.
And honestly, this other topic I wanted to ask you about. It intrigues me so much because you've been doing Philly Press Box Radio for 12 years, but again, your career in broadcasting and in media has been a very long one. you've gotten the opportunity to meet and interview and talk to so many greats. And obviously, if I ask you who one of your favorites is, you'll probably say Ray Didinger or something like that. Give me some of the favorite people that you get to talk to all these people. What are the guys or girls that you've gotten to interview that you get kind of starstruck when you get that opportunity? You know what I mean? Like I've gotten to interview some pretty interesting, eclectic people, but like I was the most starstruck I was when I got to meet and interview Rita Moreno once a long time ago at a previous job, and like I met so many people, but there I am sitting across the table interviewing Rita Moreno, and I'm like, I need a second. I need to back off for a second. I just need to soak this in. What some of the names like that for you?
Okay, well, Ray Didinger is not one of those guys. He is one of my favorite guests, of course. He's been on our show 28 times, I believe.
Wow.
But he just makes you feel so at ease. There's no starstruck thing. He never considers himself a star. But when I've had guys like Merrill Reese on the show, Seth Joyner that one time, I was a little starstruck. Now, Merrill Reese, we've had on, I think, 11 straight years now in September, right before the season starts. So, he's become kind of old hat to me. But yeah, the first couple of times I was a little nervous, a little starstruck talking to Merrill Reese. Vince Papale, for whatever reason, the first time we had him on, I was a little starstruck because, he had the movie about himself back in the 2007, I guess it was, Invincible, kind of a Philly legend. But again, one of the nicest guys in the world right there. Let's see, who else? Tom McGinnis, for whatever reason. I met him at a Sixers beach bash 12, 13 years ago, and we talked a bit. So I've had Tom McGinnis on the show a few times, but he still made me a little nervous because he's got that booming voice. Just so impressive. Love Tom McGinnis.
It is one of the great voices in all of sports right there. That's one thing with Philly. Like, we criticize the media, but announcing gets criticized a lot in the city, but we've got legends. Like, we've had legends and legends replacing legends. You got Merrill Reese and Tom McGinnis now, but you had, Mark Zumoff, you had Harry Callis, you got Tom McCarthy now. Like, I feel bad for people like Kate Scott, just like I felt bad for Tom McCarthy when he first took over for Harry. These guys can't do any right because they're replacing legends. You mentioned Merrill Reese. Based off of the hate that Kate Scott gets and that Tom McCarthy got when he first took over, I wouldn't want to be the guy that replaces Merrill Reese whenever Merrill decides to hang up the mic.
We had Kate Scott on the show twice. Hope to have her on a third time again this spring. And I did ask her about that the first time around. She said she fully understood it. She expects it. She said, broadcasters get that all the time. And especially, she knows Philly can be a tough town. And she was following a legend, Mark Zumoff, who was there for 27 years. So she fully understands it. She gets it. And I think she handles it like a pro.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Jim Jackson is another name, another legend out there with the hockey. Didn't he just retire? Just announced his retirement's coming up soon?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, I think Jim Jackson, maybe he's just slowing down the amount of work he does. Don't forget Bernie Parent. Yeah, Bernie Parent's one of the goats of the goats.
Oh, yes.
The goats. I was actually starstruck. I'll give my little Bill. I'll give my Bernie Parent story. I was at a Flyers game. I forget who I was with, but I was walking through like wherever they sell the jerseys, the gift shop at the time, the Wachovia Center. And I'm walking around. This is before really good cell phone cameras and all. And I look across the shop, and I look at my friend. I'm like, yo, I think that's Bernie Parent over there. And my friend's like, oh, my God, it is. And I'm like, you could tell he was with one of his granddaughters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just let him go, whatever. Don't bother him. And I think he heard me say his name. He came over to me. He's like, hey, thanks. I'm just here, as a fan with my granddaughter or whatever. And I appreciate you not, interrupting. Let's take a quick picture. So he came to me, and I'm like, you know what, Bernie Parent, you're a winner in my book, no matter what, just because of that moment right there.
Let me just say, I met Bernie Parent numerous times over the years. I begged his wife, Jeannie, to have Bernie come on our show for literally a full year. We finally made it happen. It was, I know the date, it was April of 2020. And it was when we very first started doing the video version of our show. So we had Mark Eckel on with us live talking about the Eagles and the draft. And I had a taped phone interview with Bernie, which I added a whole bunch of, pictures to. And he was one that I was a little starstruck for, even though I had met him several times. We talked for about 15 minutes. And of course, he was the nicest guy in the world, which, everybody says is the case with Bernie. We had a great 12 to 15-minute interview. And man, I was just so thrilled to have made that happen. Loved Bernie.
Yep, absolutely. We're talking with Chet Chesko, one half of Philly Press Box Radio, who's got Bob Brookover from NJ.com on tonight, live 7 p.m., right here on the STT Sports Network. Adam wants to know thoughts on the Olympics and your favorite event you've watched so far with the Olympics, if you're watching. I'm watching it every single night. So
I am not a huge Olympics guy. Now, Bill Furman watches a whole lot more. My wife actually watches a lot more than I do. She's into the whole ice skating thing. I've watched a little bit of the ice skating with her. I've watched some of the skiing stuff. That's fun. Felt bad when I watched Lindsey Vonn, of course, and what happened to her. Curling, I will never understand. I've said that for 30 years. I don't get it. I don't know how it works. I don't care to learn how curling works. It just fascinates me. But I will be watching the hockey games the next couple of days.
Whatever's going on with curling and Team Canada cheating, who would have thought that the biggest cheating scandal of the Olympics would come from curling of all sports?
Yeah, really.
I don't get that. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. I do want to end on one final note here, and I know I'm about 5 minutes past my 20-ish minutes. I always tell guests I'll keep them for, but we obviously lost a huge legend yesterday in Robert Duvall. Sorry, not Robert. Anyway, we lost Tom Hagen passed away basically yesterday. I was trying to set up a Tom Hagen joke there, and I totally butchered my Tom Hagen joke right there. But Robert Duvall passes away yesterday, and we were in this chat yesterday, and I don't know if you were watching any yesterday, and we were constantly given, Tom Hagen quotes and stuff like that, and remembering his career. But then someone asked, Robert Duvall or Gene Hackman? And I got stumped on it, really stumped on it. And we can let you go. Instead of asking the Goodfellas versus Godfather question, Hackman or Duvall? Who you taking?
Gene Hackman for me, absolutely. Yep. Just because I've seen so many more Hackman movies than Robert Duvall. I'm a movie guy, but I am ashamed to admit this. I've only seen a handful of Robert Duvall movies. I never saw To Kill a Mockingbird. I never saw Apocalypse Now. I know that is like a criminal. I never saw The Great Santini. I never saw his Oscar-winning movie Tender Mercies. Shame on me. I did see The Godfather at 1 and 2, of course, but I haven't seen those in 50 years. I have both of those on my DVR that I will watch at some point over the next couple of months to, relive those moments. Network was one of my favorite movies. He had a big role in that as a UBS executive. And a lesser-known movie from 2014 with Robert Downey Jr., The Judge, is also a very underrated Robert Duvall movie. But Hackman versus Duvall, I got to go Gene Hackman.
Okay. I said the same thing yesterday after much debate. Just I think Gene Hackman was a wider range, acting-wise. But anyway. Chet, thank you very much for coming on. This has been a blast this morning. This is 3 for 3. 3 straight days, you and 2 other guests. I mean, this has been a blast. I've had to do very little work this week on this show, so this has been pretty entertaining.
One last thing, my favorite new beer of late, the Milo Oreo Stout. Okay, winter is stout season. That looks like a
victory logo.
No, it's actually from 8 and Sand in South Jersey, Woodbury, New Jersey. It's an Oreo stout. So yes, there's a hint of Oreo cookie in here, in addition to that great stout taste. 6% alcohol by volume, 6%. Milo Oreo Stout. That's my recommendation.
All right, there we go. I hope you're drinking it already. You look
Not yet today. Not yet today.
No, not yet. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. I greatly appreciate your time, guys. Check out Chet, Philly Press Box Radio tonight with Bill Furman, live 7 p.m. right here on this channel. Again, Bob Brookover this week. We'll be their guest. Jim, thank you very much this morning.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Chet. All right, that was Chet right there on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. Guys, let's reset. Hit the like button if you have not. Hit the share button if you have not. Subscribe if you have not. We got 14 likes on the video so far today. Guys, that's not good enough. And vote on the poll question of the day. Why is Jalen Hurts hated so much? People don't want to admit they're wrong. Is dominating the poll at 54%. He is not flashy. Is 31%. Then tied in last place, both at 8%. He has no drama. And they just hate the best at both at 8%. Lots of fun stuff right there. Great content from Chet, as always. Fred Barnett, Bill Barber, Kevin Riley. List goes on. I love Arkansas Fred. Arkansas Fred is one of the goats right there. I love him. Still Goodfellas, Chet. We went Hackman and Duvall instead. All you need to do was go to Rexy's to see Flyers. I don't even know what that is. Beer is lucky to yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount of Chuck Norris level jokes and comments from Chet in the chat was great. I tried to get a guest on for tomorrow, Adam. I haven't heard back from them. So I gotta find somebody there. I need to get a Sixers guest on for tomorrow, since the Sixers are kicking off their unofficial second half of the season tomorrow night. And don't worry, the Sixers signed campaign back from whatever European league he is. So the Sixers second half, I got to work on that. But it's been fun this week. Black Gritty, I know some liked them, some didn't. We had Chet just now. We had Luke Garcani yesterday. We're lining up the guests this week. Chet writes an old school check and the bank bounces. Oh, my God. Good morning. Yeah, better late than ever. Hey, it is all good. Rick, we can't all wake up at 6:30 in the morning like me. Get mid Kelsey. What? Again, doesn't make any sense. We can Napoleon the F out of Thursday. Let me know. Yeah, no. Maybe I'll see if Mitch wants to come on tomorrow. He wasn't going to be my basketball guest. Former Inquirer writer. I'm checking right now to see if he's messaged me back this morning, because he does watch the show. I just think he doesn't check his Twitter very often, and that's the only way I've got to contact him. He's been on the guest on the show before. Mark Perner, he has not responded to me still as of this morning. Mark Perner, former Inquirer writer, retired, really smart basketball guy. I tried to get him on because he's wanted to come back on again, but now he's not responding. Campaign forehead fascinates me. Yeah, well, he don't got no forehead. I don't even know if he's got a 5 head. Campaign might have a 6 head. You want me to have Jason Kelsey on after you call him mid? That's just stupid. I'm up at 5 every day, but I have 2 young kids, so can't always tune in. Got you. Excuses are like assholes, Rick. Everybody's got them. Everybody's got them. If you got to get those 2 kids ready, maybe you got to start getting up at 4 a.m. then. If 5 a.m.'s not early enough for you. Anyway, just kidding with you. Who cares? It was all guest chat anyway, chat in the chat on the show today anyway. So what have we talked about today? We've talked about the Jalen Hurts hate, right? We've talked, obviously, a little Phillies with Chet. This Tony Clark drama with baseball, we don't even know much about it. But he obviously, the head of the MLPA, resigning, quitting, being forced to quit or be fired 6 months or less before a collective bargaining agreement needs to be negotiated. Man, if they were teetering baseball, they're really teetering now. And they were supposed to have their first meeting this week to start negotiations, and then he's gone. So they had to cancel their first round of talks this week because of this. And, man, I mean, I thought the death knell was in baseball already. But, man, I kind of feel like that this, really drags or drills it in. Tony Clark, maybe Tony Clark just didn't want to deal with the drama that was coming. So maybe he leaked the own information that he was sleeping with his sister-in-law. Everybody, make sure you tune in Philly Press Box Radio tonight. Bill and Chet do a fantastic job. I watch it every single week. And those 2 guys get the best of the best of the best of the best with honors. Guests on their show, so make sure you guys check it out. Don't miss it. Thank you very much, Chet, again, for coming on today. Really, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate everybody's time when they come on. It's always great to get different perspectives from the guests. But the Tony Clark situation really, really is crazy to me. So we've talked about that a little bit. And A.J. Brown, Derek Gunn reporting the Eagles do not want to trade A.J. Brown. So the question goes to that conversation. Are the Eagles just leaking that information to raise A.J. Brown's trade value? They're already fielding calls. They don't like what they're being offered. They want him out of here. So they're going to say we're not going to trade him so that maybe they get more. Or do they really want to keep A.J. Brown? Can the relationship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and the Eagles fan base and with Rick, Can that relationship be healed? That's a big question. I mean, really, rich white dudes are always everyone's cup of tea. Oh, man. Chet is a fellow craft beer guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I really thought that Oreo stout he was holding, it looked like there was a V in the logo. I was thinking it was Victory, and I hadn't seen that at Victory. So that's why I was kind of curious. But he had an Oreo-flavored stout in his hand. He wasn't drinking it. He swears he was not drinking it. But he did have an Oreo stout on. Maybe he'll be drinking it tonight on the show tonight when he does Philly Press Box Radio. Yeah, I'm surprised that the Pump Man isn't here with the Jalen Hurts most hated. And I'm still shocked on how A.J. Brown is the most hated NFL player on Reddit when Deshaun Watson made the list, but 7th on the list. It really makes no sense to me. And I know it's all made up nonsense online. But let's be honest. It's a fun talking point. It'd be A.J. that don't like the Eagles. Like, absolutely. Can the relationships be repaired? If the Eagles don't want to trade him, can the relationships be repaired? Because I think that's what A.J. Brown wants to feel a certain way with the team. He wants to feel wanted. He wants to be used. He wants to be utilized. He wants to be the best wide receiver in football, right? He probably has the best opportunity to succeed and win titles here. But he obviously has some drama to deal with. He obviously has some personal beefs and issues that need to be repaired. I think the Eagles legit don't want to trade A.J. Honestly, who would? Guy's a beast. And I've said that, Elephant, since day one. Trading A.J. Brown for amazing value in return or not sounds great, right? Until you realize you're not getting another A.J. Brown, right? You're not going to replace A.J. You're going to need 3 guys to replace A.J. Brown. So I don't think they want to trade him. I mean, I believe Howie Roseman. When Howie Roseman said at the end of the year presser, we like collecting elite players. A.J. Brown's an elite player. That was his message to the world. I don't want to get rid of A.J. Brown. But if you want him, you better blow me away with an offer. You bet. I've been saying, a lot of people are like, a 3rd and a 4th or a 4th and a 5th. The Eagles will not trade him for anything like that. It's going to be a high-end 2nd-round pick with a player. It's going to be a 1st-round pick in 2027. Unless those 2 things are on the table, he ain't going anywhere. Sam Adams chocolate stout for some reason. I know Rick knows me. I say this all the time. The Russian is my favorite stout. I'm not a huge chocolate-flavored beer fan, but a couple chocolate stouts, they're okay. I'm not big on chocolate and alcohol. Like, I don't do, in any drinks. But I'll take it. It's got to have little subtle hints of chocolate. If it's got too much chocolate smack you in the face, then I don't do it, which is crazy because I love chocolate. I would want to be the most hated. I would want to be the most hated on Reddit. It means you're successful and others are jealous. I really do think that a lot of people are just jealous of Jalen Hurts. They're jealous they were wrong. They were jealous that he's better. They're jealous that he doesn't fall for the hate. We fall for the hate. I just built a whole show around Jalen Hurts hate, right? It is what it is. You'll have to settle for being most loved on It's a Wrap. Is he most loved on It's a Wrap? What a victory that is. Yeah, I mean, I guess. What's trending? I don't know. I mean, Olympics are trending always. Jalen Hurts hate is trending always. What else is trending? A.J. Brown is trending. 49ers will play a game in Mexico City next year. The Eagles are one of the 49ers' 9 home opponents. The Eagles could be playing. The Eagles will play internationally. That was per 1 hour ago from Zach Berman from The Athletic. The Eagles will be in an international game. I hope it counts as one of their road games next year and not one of their home games. But, yeah. Round 1 loss in playoffs is deniers W. What? Again, another one of your many comments that I just don't, get, understand, whatever. I'm seeing what else is trending. I'm paging through Twitter right now. Oh, and the NovaCare complex is no longer known as the NovaCare complex. It is known as the Jefferson Health Training Complex. Just doesn't have the same ring to it as Novacare. AJ just DK will be traded. AJ just like DK? I don't know. I think they don't want to trade him. They will not trade him unless they get a massive haul for him. I mean, they're not just going to trade him just because of this year's drama, Rick. They're not going to trade him for a 3rd and 4th round pick in the future. They're just not. Despite you wanting it, despite it, maybe being needed, I don't know. But they're not just going to get rid of him for get rid of him's sake. Howie Roseman is too calculated for that. He knows the risk reward of trading him. He's got a price, just like they say, everybody's got a price. Howie's got a price on AJ. My question, the question should be, my question, your question, everyone's question, will another NFL team pay that price? Will a team at the end of the first round, Buffalo, New England, throw their first-round pick to the Eagles, which they probably wouldn't even want that. They'd probably want the 2027 first so they can post-date at June 1st. Will they offer a first-round pick for him? Will the Raiders offer their first pick of the second round for him? That's the starting price right there. And I don't know if teams will do that. How he keeps A.J. Minaj means either Hurts wants him to stay or how he still thinks Hurts needs a lot of help to make the offense work. It also has a lot to do with financials as well. How much did Laurie make on the renaming deal? I have no idea, but the change because the Novacare is still their provider. Thomas Jefferson just bought the naming rights to the practice facility. I'm sure he made a pretty penny. I'm sure of it. You'll be doing an international watch party next year. Not internationally, but I will be doing one, yes. I haven't decided. Will I go back to watch parties next year or not? I'm not sure. Phil is a Hurts truther. Call me a truther, call me whatever. It is what it is. I'm very glad that Jalen Hurts is my quarterback, Matt Chatter. As a society today, I think many have embraced recreational hate as being profitable. It's a perfect comment. It's a perfect comment. Being hating is profitable. It absolutely is correct. I would like to refer to the facility as Monticello. What? Why? Reddit is the one place on the internet where you could be on a thread that's about cars and then get banned for talking about cars. I've been banned so many times. I got like 4 different email addresses that have been banned on Reddit. One of them twice. It's weird, man. Reddit's a weird one. Okay, but nobody hates you. But you think you live rent-free. We all know who you are, okay, and what you are. AJ won't be an Eagle this season. Bank it. It's not necessary. Look, we can debate this till we're blue in the face. I don't know if it's as sure a thing as you think it is. Because, again, if teams are only calling and offering a 3rd and a 4th round pick, Howie is not doing it. It's a bare minimum 2nd round pick and a player that can start. It's a bare minimum, Rick. And I don't know if teams will do that. Plain and simple. I'm ready for the offseason to start. The offseason has officially started. As of yesterday, teams can put franchise tags on players. So the offseason has officially begun as of February 17th for the NFL. And I think March 3rd is when the franchise tag deadline ends, which I don't expect the Eagles to use it. It's a conversation for a different show and a different day. Only 15 likes. Yeah, today's likes. Chet from the chat did not bring Chet's crew to the video today. What's up with that? Black Gritty gave me my highest rated show in like 2 months. Luke Arcaney, really good ratings yesterday. Chet dragged the ratings down today. What's up with that? That was, what's going on here? There we go. God, they didn't teach anything in schools anymore. What? Look, let's not argue about Thomas Jefferson. All right? It's the name of the building, okay? You can cut and sign. You cannot You can cut and waive. Teams got to get under the cap by, I forget, the March, early in March somewhere. So there's a lot of guys getting cut and waived right now. You cannot sign free agents yet. I'll give you the schedule. I think I've got it bookmarked still. The NFL offseason schedule. Give me a second here to page through some of my bookmark tweets here. There it is. February 17th to March 3rd, window use franchise tag. February 23rd to March 2nd, NFL Combine. 9th to 11th of March, free agents tampering window. The March 11th is when free agency begins. NFL draft the 23rd of April is when that begins. That is your schedule for the offseason. I gave up. I only have 2 emails, and they were eliminated quickly. I just talked with AI about, I quit on it so much. I will blame everybody but myself for my failures, K1. That is what I do. I deflect blame on all things in life. These days, it's about rebranding over progress, marketing over muck, sparkle over substance, and that ties into your poll. Absolutely agree with you on that, for sure. You think the Eagles are going to have a new stadium in the next 3 years? Built? No. No stadium gets built in 3 years. But the Eagles will have a new stadium at some point. I'm shocked it hasn't been announced that they're working on that. But, yeah, they'll absolutely be working on a new stadium. I would say by 2032, 2035, somewhere in that range. I'm not skipping any of your comments. Maybe I'm not engaging because I don't want to have a Thomas Jefferson, life discussion. I haven't skipped. I put every single comment up on the screen. So don't ever question me. If you want to be out, go out. If you want to have a Thomas Jefferson life story, go to a History Channel. Okay? But I haven't skipped anybody's comments. It's on the back of a nickel. Yeah. Deflecting blame. No wonder you're a Hurts truther. Exactly. I mean, the writing's on the wall, K1. Duck, stop again. See, I'm just not engaging in stupid conversations. Chet's friends were partying in the club all night. They still in bed. It's possible. History Channel is all about, no, I meant a history YouTube channel. But yes, the History Channel is all about Pawn Stars and Ancient Aliens, and that's it. If it ain't on a standardized test, it ain't being taught anymore. Unfortunate truth. Look, whatever. Let's focus. Focus on sports and fun. Let focus on bashing me. Okay? That's what we should be doing. Whatever. Anyway, so think of all the things that get me pissed off. Questioning me, ignoring, gatekeeping comments. One thing I definitely do not do on this show. Anyway. Chet does got the Chet's got to be a ladies' man, TMC. He's got to be a ladies' man. I would be shocked if he's not at this point. Eye contact is overrated, okay? A firm handshake is better than eye contact, just so you know. At least that's my opinion. We all did a lot of Tylenol. They need to teach sports analytics better and better sentiment analysis algos. Who needs to teach it to who? Like, I don't know. I think analytics are a big part of the problem, too, to an extent, that there's too much analytics in it versus just the only analytic that matters, which is the win-loss record. Yeah, that's what all the ladies want. I'm not worried about attracting the ladies. Okay? I don't even want to. Yeah, I'm not worried about the eye contact for the ladies. I'm not. Why would I be? Anyway, what's on tap this week? We got 2 more days this week. The Sixers kick off their second half tomorrow night. We will get back into the Sixers tomorrow on this show, plus more Eagles talk, I'm sure, and more Phillies talk, obviously. See, maybe I'll hit up Mitchie Poo. Maybe we'll see if Mitchie Poo wants to come on tomorrow for a little while and see what he's doing. We'll see. But we got Sixers tomorrow. And we got another snowstorm potentially coming this weekend. That's going to throw a wrench into next week's plans. So we'll see. Phil handled it. Well, I took care of business. That's all I ever did. One of those dudes that get girls and out kicking his coverage. When asked what he says to these girls, I bet he is kind of the kind of dude to say all the right things. How is Chet become more over in the chat than the show itself. That's what I don't get. It's hilarious. Well, let's see. It can't sink any lower. So why not? As Gritty says, the 7 people that watch the show, right? There's 13 people watching right now. There's been over 30 people that have watched today only. It's been a little light. It's been a little light in the loafers today, the viewership today. But it is what it is. What? Anyway, we're going to wrap this baby up a couple minutes early. Chet, yeah. These people love you way too much. Literally, do they have any? They have no idea, right? Is he fun? Is he the most interesting man in the world? Is he Philadelphia podcasting's most interesting man? Maybe he's working today. Maybe working. I know he's training to help open up a new Wawa right now. Are we good earners or light? You guys are light earners for me today. Does Phil even know what light in the? I do know what it is. I want to see if anybody picked up on that little mistake there. Happy Hump Day. Yes, happy Hump Day to you too. You don't know song 2 phones? What? We need a Chet in the chat shirt. I really got to start a new shirt site so I can make shirts and sell shirts. I really do. A Chet in the chat shirt would sell like hotcakes, right? I get a little picture of Chet on the shirt. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I got to get going. I got stuff to get to today. Yeah, he's still here. He's always lingering, okay? Say his name and he appears. I believe in Chet in the chat. There we go on that. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Be good. Enjoy the day. Let's hope the weather shifts to no snow this weekend. But everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Another episode of Trending in the AM. Go. Oh, what are those? Yes, enjoy. Thank you. Everyone have a great day. Go Birds. Bubbles up.